Have you ever seen a man walk into a room and everyone stops talking? Not because he's well known, it's not because he's loud, but because just being there makes people pay attention. That's strong power. That kind of fear makes people think twice before they even consider crossing you. Not the kind that comes from yelling or making threats. It was Marcus Aurelius who said, "The best revenge is not to be like your enemy." The greatest men avoid seeking vengeance. They don't show feeling. Without saying a word, their enemies are afraid of them because they can't be hurt. This is the way to do it. 1 point. Walk slowly. Walk with purpose. Imagine a lion sauntering through the grass. It is not in a hurry. This does not cause panic. It walks with absolute conviction, as if it owns everything it observes. Imagine for a moment a man who is walking with his head bowed, his steps hurried, and his eyes continually gazing around nervously. Who do you find more intimidating? Powerful men seldom make hasty decisions. They do not rush anything. They walk with careful control, maintaining a straight back and relaxed shoulders. "I am exactly where I need to be" is a remark that can be made with each step. Seneca, a prominent Stoic philosopher, is credited with saying, "A wise man is never in a hurry, for he knows that time is his servant, not his master." Act as if time is bending to your will. When you walk, you are not simply going from one location to another. Rather, you are projecting your internal state into the world around you. A man who is governed by external factors is one who walks without purpose and hurries through life. He is extremely tardy. There is apprehension in him. It is a reaction from him. On the other hand, a man who moves slowly and with perfect assurance exudes a different kind of energy. He declares to the entire world, "I am in control. I do not engage in chase. I attract." Consider some of the most influential people in history. No one, including Julius Caesar, Alexander the Great, or Marcus Aurelius, was known for their chaotic and panicky movements. They strolled as if they were the masters of time itself. You are able to force the world to adjust to you when you walk slowly. No longer are you in a hurry to keep up with life. Rather, life is modifying itself to keep up with you. However, speed is not the only factor. Rule 5, build inner strength. How you carry yourself is also quite important. Maintain a backward posture with your shoulders at the level of your chin. Admire the fluidity and accuracy of your motion. Under no circumstances should you dart your eyes around uncomfortably. Turn your head in a methodical manner as if you were a king inspecting his empire. If you need to gaze, each and every action ought to be deliberate. There is nothing about you that should give the impression of uncertainty. Movement of this kind has a psychological effect on individuals who are in your vicinity. Your power, your prestige, and your influence are all called into question as a result. If you are not in a hurry, then it is obvious that you are not concerned. If you are not anxious, then it is obvious that you are in charge. Furthermore, if you are in charge, it is possible that you are superior to them. The mind of the normal person functions in hierarchies and is constantly looking for the person who is the most powerful in the room. People tend to infer that you are the one moving when you move with purpose. Powerful men never feel the need to justify their action. Their very presence is sufficient to explain everything. Through their body language, they convey the message, "I belong here." Their walk conveys the message, "I have nothing to prove." Their quiet conveys the message, "I am not threatened by you." Here is the true secret. It is not simply about having other people fear you. Rather, it is about making yourself more powerful. The way you move might affect the way you think. If you act like a man who is in control, you will eventually become one. As you walk like a warrior, you will eventually begin to think like one as well. You'll be able to make smarter choices. You are going to gain command over your feelings. You are going to emanate the kind of energy that causes less strong men to feel uneasy when they are in your presence. In addition, when the time comes, when you find yourself in a circumstance in which people are observing, evaluating, and assessing you, you won't have to utter a single word. Just the very fact that you are there will be sufficient to convince them to move aside. 2 point. Build inner strength. The unbreakable eye contact. Some males are incapable of maintaining eye contact. They retreat their gaze. They blink far too frequently. They move their attention uneasily from side to side. Whenever a man who possesses genuine power looks you in the eye, you sense it. You are nearly able to hear the message that is not being spoken. "I see you. I am not terrified of you. To the contrary, you ought to be terrified of me." To follow this rule, you should never be the first one to look away. Maintain eye contact, but do it with calm and serene assurance rather than with rage or aggression. Make it such that they are the ones who break. The founder of Stoicism, Zeno of Citium, articulated the philosophy that silence and a steady gaze are often more terrifying than a loud threat. Try it out, you will understand exactly what he meant. One of the most fundamental expressions of dominance is making eye contact with another person. Before there were words, laws, and social standards governing how people should behave, eye contact was the primary means by which individuals distinguished who was the predator and who was the prey. Even though it is more subtle now, it is still the same. In any conflict, the person who is first to break eye contact is the one who loses. Consider the following. When two animals in the wild look at each other, it is more than just a simple stare. This is a test. The one who is weaker will always look away first, which is a gesture of submission. Who is the most powerful. As he maintains his composure and keeps his gaze, he is conveying a message in silence that says, I am above you, above you. Humans are not an exception to this rule. In any situation, whether it is a business meeting, a fight on the street, or even a casual talk, the one who maintains steadfast eye contact is the one who holds the power. However, maintaining eye contact is not only about power, it is also about control. The fear of being observed is the reason why a weak man avoids making eye contact. It is difficult for him to be comfortable with himself, and he is uncertain about his position in the world. On the other hand, a strong man responds to every sight with the assurance of someone who has nothing to fear, nothing to conceal, and nothing to affirm. First things first, I want to make it perfectly clear that this is not about staring somebody down like a rabbit hound. Aggression is an indication of insecurity, and something like that is an example of aggression. A state of tranquility is true power. It has not moved. There is no essential necessity for it to impose itself on other people. When you gaze someone in the eyes, make sure to do it without building up any tension. Your face should be neutral, your body should be relaxed, and your breathing should be slow. It is possible to make them sense your presence without using a single word. This has an immediate impact on the situation. When they are around you, people will be hesitant. Eventually, they will question their own judgment. Given that they are not accustomed to having someone see them for who they really are, they will have feelings of unease. Because of this, weak men often avoid making eye contact. They are aware, on some level, that they will be exposed. Additionally, here is where you take it to the next level. When you are in a state of stress and someone is attempting to confront you, maintain eye contact, but remain silent. It is important that they feel the weight of your silence. The pressure of your unshakable presence should cause them to wriggle. Observe how they break on their own, without you having to do anything at all. There is a saying attributed to Seneca, "He who is calm in the storm commands the sea." Because of your unbreakable eye contact, that storm is occurring. When it comes to people who are weak, it is unsettling. But when it comes to those who perceive power, it speaks volumes. You do not have to speak louder than you already are. It is not necessary for you to argue. There is no need for you to provide an explanation. It is sufficient to gaze, and the world will react accordingly. Number 3, own your space. Never shrink yourself. Have you ever noticed how weak men tend to condescend themselves to take up as little space as possible? They slump their shoulders, cross their arms over their chests. The opposite is true for powerful men. The space that surrounds them is all theirs. Their feet are solidly set, and they stand tall. They do not twitch or shift uneasily. When they move, they do so in a thoughtful manner. According to a quote attributed to Epictetus, "No man is free who is not master of himself." When you have authority over your own body, you inspire respect in the minds of those around you. Take note of the manner in which a monarch sits on his throne. Does he fold himself together? Does he hunch his shoulders or tuck his hands between his legs? No. He appears to be sitting with his arms spread wide, as if the entire air that surrounds him is his. This is what it means to take ownership of your space, to take up the space that is rightfully yours without making any excuses or showing any reluctance. Weak men tend to downsize themselves. The way they huddle into corners with their arms crossed and their chins tucked gives the impression that they're attempting to vanish. They are afraid of being observed. They are not interested in a conflict because they do not wish to be evaluated. It is their hope that if they decrease in size to a certain degree, the world will abandon them. However, people who take cover are not respected by the world. People who are steadfast are respected by it. When you enter a room, you should instantly assert your right to the place. Maintain a lofty stance. Your back should be straight and your shoulders should be relaxed but broad. Make sure that your arms are not crossed or crammed into your pockets. Instead, let them rest naturally at your sides. When you are seated, avoid curling in. Sit back with your legs slightly apart and one arm resting easily on the ground. To demonstrate that you are a part of the group, you do not need to spread out like an arrogant fool. It's not simply physical language. This is psychological communication. Increasing the size of your stance sends a message to your brain that you are in command of the situation. When your mind is convinced of anything, your body will follow suit. The level of confidence increases. Fear is eliminated. The people around you are experiencing it too. As one of the most dominating individuals in history, Julius Caesar was renowned for his unwavering presence. Despite the fact that he was outnumbered and that there were conspirators plotting against him, he never flinched in fear. He was aware that a leader must actually be the embodiment of power. If you are in a public place, whether it be a meeting, a social situation, or just going through a crowd, resist the impulse to shrink. This is a test. Be steadfast in your stance. Maintain a relaxed and open posture. Act with a sense of purpose. Notice how people begin to give you more space without even realizing it. It is not always the case that riches or physical might are the sources of power. Sometimes the answer is as straightforward as this. The individual who owns his space owns the room. Number 4, the art of stillness. Move less, control more. Imagine a confrontation between two men. One of them is swaying, chatting quickly, glancing about, and flailing his hand. The other, there is hardly any movement from him. His respiration is slow. There is no movement in his body. Which one appears to be more powerful? The absence of movement is frightening. The essence of genuine power is not aggressive movement, but rather thoughtful control. His adversaries rushed around him, plotting, worrying, and reacting. But he stayed firm, like a mountain unshaken in the midst of a storm. Pause. Try this the next time you feel pressure. Whether it be in an argument, a negotiation, or just in a situation that you encounter every day. Resist the impulse to shift. Maintain a relaxed body, slow breathing, and a neutral expression on your face. If someone is expecting a response from you, do not give them any. Refrain from flinching, fidgeting, and making any sudden movement. Just complete and unobtrusive command. Most people are not accustomed to being still. This causes them to feel anxious. They have no idea what you are contemplating. They are unaware of what you have in mind. It is precisely in this ambiguity that you hold the power. When a person does not respond, he is the one who makes the world adjust to him, rather than the other way around. Pause. Consider the game of poker. Every time a player twitches, scratches his face, or shifts in an uncomfortable manner, he is unintentionally disclosing his hand. Control of the table is exercised by the player who maintains a still posture, does not show any emotion, and keeps a steady breathing rate. In real life, the same holds true. Peace is the key to control. Power comes from composure. When the moment comes and you finally decide to move, every seemingly insignificant activity becomes purposeful and potent. There is no attention paid to the man who is constantly on the move, but the man who is motionless for a moment before suddenly shifting. Everybody is aware of it. If you are able to do this, you will not only make your adversaries dread you, but you will also make them feel as though they never even had a chance. Pause. Number 5. The smirk of absolute confidence. The vast majority of people are unaware of the fact that a mere sneer has the power to break a weak person. The reason is as follows. A nervous smile conveys the message, "Please don't hurt me." The smirk is silent and discreet, conveying the message, "You have no idea what I know." Even in the face of betrayal, Julius Caesar was noted for his cool and almost amused look. He was one of the most feared persons in the history of the world. His adversaries feared him, not because he was noisy, but because they were unable to determine what he was thinking at any given moment. When someone confronts you in the future, you should not quarrel with them. Don't try to justify yourself. Just give them a smirk. Permit them to ponder the reason. A smirk is the most powerful weapon that can be used in psychological warfare. It subtly says, "You are not a threat to me," and is an unobtrusive and effortless display of supremacy. Pause. Consider. Many men display their feelings, including anger, insecurity, and fear on their face. On the other hand, the man who smiles, it is still unclear what he is. Not predictable, completely unmoved. Imagine the following. Someone is making an effort to get under your skin. They insult you, they challenge you, and they are looking for a response from you. The vast majority of men would respond by raising their voices and attempting to demonstrate their worth. But what about you? You do nothing. You simply smirk, a gradual and effortless twist of the lips that conveys the message. You don't even realize how small you look right now, and at that very instant they are aware of it. Pause. Marcus Aurelius, the Stoic emperor, is credited with writing that the best revenge is not to be like your enemy. This means you should never put yourself in the same position as people who are trying to provoke you. When you dispute with them or react emotionally, you are playing their game. And the instant you start playing their game, you have already given up control of the situation. On the other hand, when you maintain your composure, when you smile as if the whole thing is making you laugh, you compel them to participate in your game. This is why powerful men, such as leaders, soldiers, and monarchs, never overreact. They are aware that power lies in the unknown and the smirk. A grin is the ideal approach to sow seeds of uncertainty in the mind of an adversary. What is it that he knows that I do not? Why does he not feel intimidated? What is he intending to do? This unpredictability is more unsettling than any potential danger. Pause. Test it out. When someone tries to provoke you in the future, resist the temptation to justify yourself. Do not engage in debate. Avoid defending yourself. Simply maintain eye contact with them and smile. Let the pause be as long as possible. Allow them to wallow in their own insecurity. You will know you have triumphed when they turn their gaze away, because that is inevitable. Number 6. Ignore insults. Respond with silence. Pause. When it comes to a weak man, nothing is more frustrating than someone who does not react. Take a moment to pause when someone insults you. Take note of them. Try not to flinch. Try not to respond. Allow the silence to linger. Marcus Aurelius stated in his personal notes, "The opinion of others cannot harm you unless you allow it to." His words are still relevant today. Arguments are made by weak men. Strong men let their silence speak for them. Pause. Silence is a means of attack. It has a sharper edge than words, a heavier impact than insults, and a more devastating effect than any response. A weak man demands that you respond to him. He takes great pleasure in the notion that his words have the ability to influence you. When you respond to him, whether by arguing or by becoming defensive, you give him exactly what he is looking for, evidence that he has had an effect on you. When you don't say anything, when you merely stare, showing no sign of being bothered or even amused, you compel him to confront a very frightening reality, that his words have no meaning. Pause. Imagine a fool yelling vulgarities at a statue made of stone. No matter how loud he cries or what he says, the statue does not move. It does not care, and it does not move at all. At some point, the fool appears to be insane. This is the same principle. Your adversary will appear to be a toddler throwing a fit if you choose to make no response to their behavior. Pause. Scipio Africanus, a Roman general, was degraded in front of his troops at one point. Instead of giving a response, he merely chuckled and removed himself from the situation. He was humiliated not because of anything that Scipio had said was less important than what he refused to say. His soldiers followed, and the man who had insulted him stood humiliated. That is the essence of the power of quiet. Most men are afraid to be silent. They think they need to fill the void with defenses, explanations, and counterattacks. However, moderation is the key to great strength. When you stop defending yourself against every minor insult and stop justifying yourself, you reach a different level of control. Take a moment the next time someone tries to provoke you. Allow the insult to linger. Maintain direct eye contact. Hold your tongue. Observe how tension rises. Notice how the person who insulted you begins to wriggle, uncertain if they made a mistake. They thought they could trap you in their world of trivial disagreements and emotional outbursts. But you are above that. When the insulter finally looks away, breaking before you do, you realize something that most men never do. The one who speaks first in a conflict is typically the one who is losing. Number 7. The deadly power of silence. Silence is unsettling. Most people try to fill it with nervous talk. Men in power know that silence forces the other person to think and question their beliefs. In doing so, people begin to wonder if they have already lost. Test this the next time someone makes a dumb statement. Do not respond quickly. Take a moment and look at them. Let the silence build. They will either justify themselves or backtrack. In any case, you will come out on top. Pure silence is powerful because it requires concentration. It lacks distractions and reassurance. In a world where everyone wants to be heard, silence is the most powerful message one can make. It says, I do not need to fill the space with words. I am in charge of this moment. Consider this scenario. You allow the other person to dictate the pace when you respond instantly and fill every silence with words. But if you choose to stay silent, you compel them to deal with the stress. They wonder what you are thinking, if they have made a mistake. The longer you remain silent, the more power you take from them. Someone makes a dumb comment or accusation. The other person panics and tries to justify themselves. You have seen this reflex before. They cannot remain silent because they are aware of the significance of their own words and try to fill the void. This is where they make their biggest mistake. In this instance, psychological warfare is at its peak. By remaining silent, you force the other person to respond to themselves. They will begin to question their words and deeds, and eventually they will break under your calmness. Epictetus, one of the most well-known Stoic philosophers, said, "We have 2 ears and 1 mouth, so that we can listen twice as much as we speak." Remaining silent is not just being quiet. It involves observing, understanding, and allowing yourself to think and take control of the moment. Mastering the art of quiet makes you a man of mystery and command. Pause the next time someone insults or argues with you. Use this technique. Do not become defensive. Do not get distracted by noise. Let silence take hold. Notice how the atmosphere gets uneasy. People will scramble to justify themselves or backtrack. In either case, you have won without saying a word. The ability to control a conversation without raising your voice is the lethal power of silence. Once you learn it, you will know that you do not need to argue to control the situation. In communication, silence is more powerful than any words. Number 8, dress like you're in control of everything. Before a man speaks, his appearance has already communicated his message. Sloppy and untidy garments indicate a man who has no control. Disciplined, precise, and well-fitted garments show a man who commands respect. Cato considered one of the most self-disciplined Stoics, dressed with exquisite accuracy. In his view, how you present yourself to the outside world reflects your inner self-control. If you appear at the top of your field, people will treat you as such. Your attire is the first thing people notice. It conveys who you are. Before you speak or reveal your personality, your clothes tell the world whether you are a man of order or disorder, one who demands respect or waits for it. Clothing is not just personal preference, it reflects self-discipline and respect for oneself. Think about Co the Younger, one of the fiercest Stoic philosophers in Roman history. He was obsessed with maintaining discipline. He was always tidy, well-fitted, and exact. His impeccable clothing was a statement of control, inner power, and a mindset in order. He knew that a man who presents himself with precision cannot be easily disregarded. Take a moment to picture yourself entering a room, any room. Not only do your garments fit you well, but they also suit you with absolute perfection. It is clean, sharp, and modest, all at the same time. Questions are not required to be asked by individuals. That you have your life under control is something they can see right away. You are not to be disregarded in any way. You don't need to seek attention when you dress properly. Rather, you demand it and give it to yourself. And maybe most crucially, you are the one who determines how other people will interact with you. This is not about spending a bunch on costly clothing. Let's make that perfectly clear. It is important to pay attention to the details. Your skin tone and body shape should be complemented by the proper color, the right cut, and the right fit. It is never appropriate for your clothes to wear you. Putting them on is a good idea. They ought to be reflective of your ideals, including your composure, your concentration, and your self-control. How do you feel when you are dressed well? Take a time to think about it. What kind of treatment do other people give you when you are in a good mood? A clear distinction may be seen here. One way for a man to communicate to the world that he does not care is to dress poorly. On the other hand, a man who dresses as though he is in command is signaling, I am aware of who I am. It is clear to me where I am going. In addition, I anticipate nothing less than respect from you. You should make a concerted effort to dress with a purpose the next time you get out of the house. You don't need to have a closet full of pricey suits to ensure that your clothes are well-fitting, neat, and intentional. Just make sure that they are. When you enter any room, you should have the appearance that you are the owner of that room and the entire world.